have your company on their minds for 15 years. Upon completion of his freshman year in college, my 17-year-old son, Dean O'Malley, does anybody here recognize who that is? It's from California, so. Dean O'Malley was undecided about what kind of work he'd do for the summer of 1995. Because the University of California at San Diego finished its spring quarter in mid-June, many positions had already been filled. But he gamely headed out the next day to see what might still be available. At the end of the day, he returned home to announce that he had been hired to sell Cutco knives. To be honest, I was completely dismayed. Why? I had just bought a full set of Cutco knives from my son's best friend, Faisal Khan, and naturally wished that order had been given to Dean. Because our son was so quiet and his father, I was concerned that a sales position would prove to be a challenging and disappointing to him. When we questioned him why he wanted this job, he said, because I raved the night before about the knives I bought from Faisal, and he felt that he could sell a product in which he had confidence. Dean asked for the names of 5 people on whom he could practice his sales skills. I telephoned 5 friends and assured them that they didn't have to buy anything, but their assessment of the sales technique would be sufficient. At the end of his first day of sales calls, Dean announced that 2 of my friends told him that they had purchased Cutco knives over 20 years ago, actually, and that they loved them. Armed with that information as well as additional purchases from these ladies, Dean never looked back. He went on to win many, many awards for selling many knives that summer. In his suit and tie and 100 degrees
called a manager conference.
I myself received accolades about Dino this summer, as those who he called on raved about his appearance, his enthusiasm for the product, his professionalism in sticking to his pitch, despite their efforts to turn the sales call into a chat with a friend's son. At the end of the summer, Dean's manager asked if he would like to be a manager himself the following summer. Because University of California at San Diego summer begins in mid-June, Dean asked if his friend Faisal could jointly manage the summer program, and this was approved. Both boys were excited about their increased responsibilities and immediately began their plans. Because Faisal was in college in Pennsylvania, and Dean made the arrangements to rent office space as well as the office furniture. He also set up several phone lines at our home with detailed message on the answering machine to handle calls from prospective salespeople that spring. He made several trips on weekends from San Diego to Calabasas, a 3-hour drive each way to interview those who responded to ads about the job possibility. When Faisal came home in May, he joined Dean in handling the interviews and began training those they hired. It was a long, hard summer, and Dean learned that not everyone, in fact only very few, had his work ethic. He gained a lot of experience, but not as much money as he and Faisal had originally hoped. However, his efforts once again were recognized by Cutco as he was offered a job as super manager over many other managers in the area. Not sure exactly what that is. But she liked it. That may not be the title of the job,
that's the title you got to put in,
but that is the
super
general
manager.
description of the type of work he was doing. Dean's father and I offered him a perspective that it may be more advantageous for him to work for a different company to gain a wider diversity of experience, so he declined the Cutco offer and took a job with another firm the following summer. He told us that every job for which he interviewed, he was offered a position. He attributed it to his experience at Cutco in sales and management, as well as interviewing and training staff. Dean says that because he conducted over 200 interviews, he found himself critiquing those who interviewed him, thinking they should ask this question or that question. And he felt very comfortable with the whole process. The position he eventually accepted, and disappointed he greatly, but perhaps that is because he had been given so much freedom and authority to do his job his way with Cutco. And now he found himself in a company where there was little enthusiasm for the work or the company. Employees did the bare minimum to satisfy requirements. Following February, 4 months before graduation, Dean was encouraged by a friend to join him interviewing for a position with Anderson Consulting. Since Dean was undecided about what kind of work he wanted to do, he agreed. To his surprise, after several interviews, he was offered a job and was told that only 6 offers from the entire San Diego area were being offered jobs of the hundreds who had been interviewed. The company told Dean he would receive a generous bonus for signing, as well as a monthly stipend until he actually began work, but he had to sign a paper stating he would interview no other companies. He agreed. Once again, Dean told us that the interviews were very impressed with his work at Cutco. and Dean reiterated that the interviews themselves were easy for him, thanks to his Cutco experience. After 5 years with Anderson Consulting in the area of finance, which became Accenture, Dean accepted a position with Washington Mutual. Over the next 5 years, he was given many promotions and raises. He won one award that entitled him, 9 and others, to join some of the company's executives for a week in Hawaii. At the age of 27, he bought a house in Newport Beach on Balboa Peninsula. Life was good for him. Then came the fall of the banking industry, along with many other industries as well, as Walmart was taken over by J.P. Morgan Chase. Even every Washington Mutual employee was given their termination date in October of 2008, and Dean's was October 31st, 2009. Dean felt confident he would find a job, although I must admit, his mother was more hesitant about the future. Then in June 2009, he was offered a job as vice president with Chase. Dean said he was interested in the job, except that expecting to be laid off much longer, he had made plans to travel to Russia, Argentina, and Australia, and would be gone for 3 months total. He was not only given 3 months leave of absence, but also a year's worth of pay, as well as a bonus, so he wouldn't have to worry about income for a while. I am writing this to brag about Dean. Yes, but I'm also to brag about Cutco, which I firmly believe started Dean on the right track and gave him so many tools that helped him immensely through the years. So what I want to thank you for being a company that encourages your young students and offers them training, motivation, and incentives to exceed. I also want to thank you for all the wonderful Cutco knives I've enjoyed for 15 years. Now, in looking at what I was going to do tonight, I don't know how I could sum up anymore what gives you so much pride about this business than do exactly what you folks do. Lives that you change. Yes, you give them great opportunities for financial success if they want to have the work ethic that Dean talked about not finding in many of the individuals. But that the experience that they gain, and we're hearing this more and more every day, as to the resume experience, that having Cutco Vector on their resume, what it does for future opportunities, not counting the great opportunities we have here, and the great number of new managers we have sitting in here tonight. So it's a great business. It's a great business to be very proud of, and I'm certainly very proud to be your chairman and CEO. We've got a tremendous future.